So I need to put that there. I'm gonna sit right here, let the camera autofocus on my face. So sometimes when something just doesn't work right, you gotta give it a second chance. And that's exactly what we're doing today. What's up everybody, Curtis here, and welcome back to Digibit Tech. So a few weeks ago, I did a video on a brand new coolant from UFO Technologies. Daniel over there sent it over to me and wanted me to test it out and give my opinion on it. Well, unfortunately, something went a little wrong with the coolant and it broke. When I say broke, it didn't break in the sense that it didn't cool properly or the 3D effect didn't work. It was actually the color change in it. It heated up, and when it changed colors, it never fully changed back. So Daniel and I worked together. We think we came up with the conclusion that during shipping, it either got too cold and froze, or the cold temperature itself damaged the coolant in some capacity. Daniel and I decided, well, we'll just wait a few weeks, let it warm back up, and then we'll give this another shot. Because after all of his testing, this was the only case where something's went wrong. So that's exactly what we did. After a few weeks, Daniel sent these products over for review. Now, right off the bat, you probably noticed, boy, those are some little bitty bottles there, Curtis. I don't think that's gonna fill my loop. Well, glad you noticed that. So UFO Technologies, glad you noticed that. So UFO Technologies is actually shipping their product in these 250 milliliter bottles. This makes it a little bit safer to ship, and it's less likely to get damaged, and I don't know, little bottles, they're cute. But this is actually concentrated, so what you'll need to do is mix both of these with 750 milliliters of distilled water. Make sure it's good stuff, not that cheap like Walmart brand crap, and that will get you a full liter of each. But anyway, so when I received the package, I was like, I got two bottles here. Is one a cleaner and the other the coolant, or do I like mix them together? What's going on here? Well, actually what this little bottle of yellowish green fluid is a stabilizer. Daniel told me that since I just ran Event Horizon through my loop, I don't need to run a cleaner. But what he's starting to do is sell these stabilizers. Now, this is actually to keep the 3D effect from sticking to your reservoirs, to your blocks, and things like that. Problem that I noticed with EDVAC, but I figured it was probably fairly normal for 3D effect coolants. After a while of running, it would just kind of disappear off of my reservoir and be fine until I let it sit a couple days. But anyway, this is supposed to prevent that. Now, like I said, I just needed to run distilled water through my loop and get all of the old coolant out. I thought that was gonna be a little bit easier than it was. So I bought a couple gallons of distilled water, made sure it was nice and fresh, and I decided that what I was gonna do was drain my coolant, fill everything up, and I was actually gonna run a stress test so that way the fluid would warm up and hopefully pull all those particles and dyes and everything like that out of my loop. But that was easier said than done. I ended up going through 1.25 gallons using this process. I don't know how many times I filled up my loop, but I ended up just kind of giving up. It was pretty much clear for the most part. There was only a teeny tiny little bit of that 3D effect left. Also, I noticed that the 3D effect kind of etched its way into my soft tubing. Not a big deal, it's soft tubing. I mean, if you run anything that's any kind of, not abrasive, but any material or particle, it's probably gonna find its way into your tubing. I can't confirm if this would have happened with PETG or acrylic. Glass, you'd totally be safe, but whatever. Not that worried about it. So after I got everything flushed out and nice and pretty again, it was time to run the stabilizer. So I mixed it up and installed it in my system, and I didn't get clarification if you should run it for 4 to 6 hours. I would say treat it exactly like Event Horizon. I let it run in my loop for 20 hours. I filled it up and proceeded to play Warframe for the rest of the evening. But I think just running it a few hours would probably be okay. But again, I didn't notice any temperature differences. It worked almost exactly like Coolant. So after 20 hours, I decided to drain it, and you don't need to flush this out of your loop. All you need to do is just drain it out, shake your case around, do some case acrobatics, and you're good to go. I went as far as to pop one of my tubes off and blow into it to flush out the radiator, just because I know sometimes they can collect it. And no guys, I didn't include B-roll of me blowing onto the tube because I know what you would have done with the footage. But anyway, so I don't think you have to do that step, but that's just another precaution I wanted to take. And then it was time for the moment of truth. Time for the brand new coolant. So once I mixed that up, I installed it in the system. I do want to warn you though, while you're pouring this in your loop, unless you have a big bottle, well, even if you have a big bottle, you want to make sure that you constantly shake it and stir it. There are 2 different kinds of dyes in Cryo Shift, and if it sits too long, they'll actually separate. And if you pour more of one dye in your loop than the other, then the color shift won't perform properly. So what I ended up doing was mixing it into a big measuring cup and then taking a butter knife and stirring it around. Little jankety, but it's not stupid if it works, right? So after filling the loop and letting all the air bubbles burp out of it, it was time to run a benchmark, and let's see how this color shift works. Well, I am happy to report I ran IDA 64 and I would let it run for 15 minutes, cut the benchmark off, let it sit for 5, run the benchmark again, and I did this 5 times, and each and every time the coolant performed flawlessly. So the coolant is naturally a mint green color, and when it heats up, it turns to a lighter blue. Now with Cryo Shift, I believe the maximum point in which the color shift happens is 33 degrees Celsius. So if you're playing a game and it's not really taxing your system, you may notice that your times will be a little different than mine. Again, each loop is going to be a little bit different. I only have one 360mm radiator in here, and I have a 4790K and a GTX 1070 that are overclocked. So I can throw a good bit of heat in relatively quick, but your mileage may vary. However, what I noticed as far as number wise was that the time it took the coolant to fully shift was about 10 minutes. Well, when I stopped the benchmark, it only took about 5 for the coolant to shift all the way back green. And as you could probably tell by that time lapse, it looks so incredibly awesome. I don't know how long term this color shift's gonna work. I've been told that there have been test rigs where this has been in their loop for 6 months and it's worked just as great as day 1. So time will tell. But I'm super happy this product worked, and I can't wait to play games and kind of stare at my case as the colors change. So some of you are probably thinking, Curtis, that sounds like a pretty niche product. And you're probably right. I don't foresee everybody needing Cryo Shift in their systems or wanting it, but it's a very, very unique product, and it's the first of its kind on this market, and I think it's pretty cool. It adds just that extra little bit of unique touch to your system, and after all, that's the biggest reason any of us do this. So with all of that being said, again, I want to say thank you to UFO Technologies for sending 2 batches of coolant over for me to take a look at. Again, I'm sorry the first batch didn't work out, but it looks like this stuff is good to go, and I am so excited to see how it holds up and does in the future. So that's where I'm gonna end this, guys. You all know what to do down below. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We just hit 100 subscribers, so now we're gonna be doing that giveaway I've been talking about forever. Be sure to be on the lookout at the beginning of April. That's when I'm gonna launch it, and we are gonna be giving away a gaming keyboard. I haven't picked out the exact one yet, but I promise it's gonna be sick and you all are gonna want it. Also, don't forget to check out the live stream we do every single Tuesday called Player Tuesday. And me and my friend John hop on and we talk about whatever it is that we feel like talking about that day. Usually it's gaming and movies and such, but it's a fun time. It gives us a chance to hang out and just talk with you all. You guys are awesome. I love your comments down below. And with all of that being said, I will see you all in the next video. See ya.